This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in to Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live downtown Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy program lined up today. Tons of college basketball games in action as we speak. Live betting numbers throughout the show. Other bets that we've added for tonight and other conference tournament futures that we have. Dan Leberfeld, Jets Whispers coming up in 30 minutes. His take on NFL free agency. What are the Jets going to end up doing beyond getting Geno Smith now again at quarterback? My God.
Oh.
And is the wrong guy favored to go number 2 in the draft, the Jets? Thomas Gable in 90 minutes has a couple of good breakdowns on conference tournament futures, and Derek Stevens from here at Circa. It looks like, well, they're still right now in a review that takes typically 27 minutes in college basketball. ACC, 12-19 Pittsburgh with a 64-63 lead over Stanford. They have 0.4 on the clock the way it looks. Stanford was a 4.5-point favorite. How serious were they of a bubble team?
Last 4 out. First 4 out in that, so this will end their season. No chance. What's interesting is if Pitt hangs on, if you think a miracle could happen, you can grab 35-1 in play, but they have the ball with less than a second left. So now Pitt will play NC State. Does anybody want to make the tournament? NC State is still safely in. They've lost 6 of 7.
I know.
They lost by 40 to Louisville. They lost by 30 to Virginia. They lost by 30 at home against Duke. They lost to this Stanford team, and they lost at Notre Dame. Still safely in the field.
Safely in, Paul. No problem. Don't worry about it. Lock it up.
Yeah. Well, this becomes a horrific loss, though. They start the day tomorrow against Pitt then. But if they lose that's fine. I would think you'd have to say losers of 7 of 8 and a horrific loss. That's got to be it for NC State if they happen to stub their toe.
Yep. Also, going on as we speak, Utah is leading Cincinnati. It looks like 20-19. That game is coming up on 2 minutes to play. Now make it 23-20, actually. About 2:03 to play. That's part of the Big 12 tournament. That game trending under. First game today, Baylor and Arizona State. That did go over, and Arizona State got the outright win as a 5 money on Baylor today, game day. Drove that number up to 5.5. ASU got him outright. So they pulled that one off, and I have an angle on that I'll tell you about coming up in about 10, 12 minutes with the court.
Do it for Hurley, right?
In the Big 12. I was going back and forth with a couple of buddies today, and that was the angle where that can happen. And it recently happened with another team where the coach was like the lame duck, and they went on a mini run in the conference tournament, and here you go. And one game in anyway, and Baylor was a total, they were not good this year, and they got that job done for Danny Hurley, who feels like he's been there for 25 years at Arizona State.
Bobby.
Bobby. Yeah, Danny at UConn, obviously.
I thought he didn't do a good job, so I'm surprised he stayed that long too. So I like SMU coming up. Would you? They're laying 3.5. They are last 4 in, according to the Joe Lunardi. 3.5 against Syracuse coming up. Lose and they're out. Win and they probably lock up a bid.
Well, here's the deal on this. It's now at least a 2-point move because they were 5.5. Keep in mind that they are without one of their key guys, guard B.J. Edwards, 13 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, actually 5 assists per game. But, again, talking to other people today about the Syracuse program, they're an abomination. And I think maybe the foot was out the door many, many weeks ago on the season. And, they're all in on SMU. For what it's worth, I will say that when the number was 5.5, this is Steve Mackinnon, VSiN.com, big favorites of 5.5 points or more have been very good in the ACC tournament, 61-8 straight up, 40-28-1 ATS. That is 59% when you round up since 2015. ACC opening round favorites are 23-4 straight up, 16-11 ATS since 2016. Syracuse, total disaster. SMU not playing well down the stretch is my one concern here with the team.
Okay. All right.
And we do have 5 title games tonight, Paulie.
Yep. This is, we might live, if we live to be 90 years old, I don't know if you're going to see a more wild situation than 2 incidents we have going on right now. You mentioned 5 title games, number 1. We've seen this before, but still, Long Island, fins up, already in the tournament. They clinched a spot Saturday. They play Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst ineligible in that title game. One of the worst rules in sports with the transition rule. You have that angle. And then this just came down Utah Valley is the 1 seed
Yeah.
in the WAC. The tournament and games are off the board. They only have 7 teams in their league, but Utah Valley is leaving to go to the Big West next year. They have not complied with a judge's order that they have to put $1 million in escrow with the court. This is agreed upon, their exit fee. They have until 5 o'clock tonight to put the money in. And if they don't, they will come out with a new bracket, and that means no Utah Valley and the 1 seed is out, kicking them out.
Sure.
Oh, my God.
Now, this would have been something where if you had this news 3 hours ago, before it dropped, it would have been nice so you could attack the betting board and grab some other nice numbers on teams in the conference. But, I mean, I did a cursory look at, obviously books are going to take this off the board now. So you're not going to be able to find that available. And I mean, unless there's a book out there sleeping, which I doubt at this point.
That's just enormous.
Of course
to
it
get
is.
the 1 seed out there. Plus, you only have 6 teams left in the damn league.
Right.
The way it's at. So I don't know if they're going to have a whack next year anyways, because they only had 7 teams, and they're losing a couple teams. So the conference will release new brackets if Utah Valley doesn't comply by 5 o'clock Mountain Time, and they regret the intentional actions of Utah Valley University have caused uncertainty and harm for institutions, student athletes, coaches, staff, and fans across the WAC, including Utah Valley University. And then, how about that? You travel out here, and it's okay. Get it sent home. That's it. You're not. It
almost. How many times do you actually have this during an event like on game day or before it's going to get started? The all-timer is Laramie Tunsil on draft night.
Yeah.
When the bong mask it comes out and it drops as the draft is going on. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to this poor kid? And now, so this is rare. I mean, they waited until right now to bring up the news. That's in that conference anyway, and from a betting standpoint, pretty massive, man.
Well, I think they'd assume they'd wire the money in or put the money in with their exit fee. I don't know why they don't think they have to pay the exit fee, which is agreed upon, and then they're leaving next year too. So, did it go final? Did they lose?
Here.
Must have. Yeah. So at least, I will say at least one team played their way in, and that was Santa Clara. That was a great win last night. Joe Lenardi has them now safely in the field, and a little high tonight though in the title game. Gonzaga up to 7.5, so we don't get the Gonzaga-St. Mary's send-off as Gonzaga leaves for the Pac-12. And we'll see if Santa Clara can say, no need to sweat Sunday. We're already in with the automatic bid, rather, if they can beat Gonzaga. And they were swept during the regular season, and the number feels about right.
I'll give
7.5.
I'll give you more numbers here historically in this conference in a second. This show, Follow the Money, is brought to you by ProfitX. And right now, you can win a free trip worth up to $10,000 during March Madness with King of March. Use the code VSiNMM when you go to ProfitX. Again, the code is VSiNMM. Mackin and great numbers, again, VSiN.com. West Coast Conference favorites. This applies to the semifinal and the championship rounds. Now, it did not go well last night, 0-2 here. But before this year, 22-14 ATS. You can drop to 22-16 after last night. And the sweet spot for betting favorites has been in this tournament between 6 and 12 points. Those teams, which is what Gonzaga falls into tonight, 26-4 straight up, 23-6-1 ATS in the last 30 games. And when the title game, that's the game tonight, but overall totals in the conference tournament of 147 or higher, they're over at a 69.2% clip, 27-12-1. While averaging about 157 points per game. And you got a big total in this game tonight as well.
Yep. And I would think you get a huge effort out of Gonzaga if they were sleepwalking yesterday. As they were looked rusty, a lot of time off, and huge favorite. They just went through the motions, beating Oregon State. Are you taking Mercyhurst?
I took 5.5.
Yeah? Okay.
Are you taking Siena?
I don't like them. Their best player was ruled ineligible last week. This is a great story. Merrimack's never made the tournament. They've been Division I for only 6 years. So if they can get this done, only their second year in the Metro Atlantic, that'd be great. It seems like there's too much respect for the Saints here. And certainly the issue with that guy was ruled ineligible for Siena. So
down to 1.5 now?
I don't.
It was 4 this morning.
I don't get it. Yeah. No. But the other thing is,
Siena's been hitting some threes lately. That's the good thing.
Okay. Yeah. I would take Merrimack in this one, but the other reason to get on Mercyhurst was what we talked about briefly yesterday, but the incredible numbers from Mackin and going back. The dog in the title game in the Northeast is 16-3 ATS with 13 outright upsets. 13 times. Right. And last year, Central Connecticut was laying 11.5 at home, and they lost the game and scored only 43 points. So is it already celebrating? They already know they're in? Or is it this is the Super Bowl for Mercyhurst, and they're on national TV, and they want to show up? Or Rod Strickland did a great job with the Sharks, and they swept them as well. But I think Mercyhurst is live here, but they can't get away from the history in these title games, how the Dogs have crushed it. And for whatever reason, the favorite and the home team comes out flat and tight every year. And
I'll give you this. So they played twice this year. Long Island swept the regular season back in early January. They were laying 8.5. They won that game. It was a squeaker, 60-58. And the second time around, they were laying 3.5. They won that one 91-83. So tonight, now 5.5. But again, they're already in. Mercyhurst cannot advance beyond this game. It just seems like an odd. The whole thing is super odd, and I can't believe college sports still allows this to happen. But 8.5 the first time, they barely won the game.
Yeah. But that was be nice to be inside the locker room too about what these guys are thinking too.
Yeah.
And also about that's just like normal, right? To go out and celebrate Saturday once you're already in and clinched.
I do think the Horizon game can be really, really good tonight.
Yes. Wright State was awesome in the second half.
Yeah, and I thought Detroit was that was a good game. Yeah. Some of these games were really good. We'll get into the CAA title game, and there are some good numbers in that conference. And something I wanted to track, did you look at this new floor today in the Big 12, this LED floor, and how it's impacting the game that's in action right now? I'll break that down for you coming up here on VSiN.
Betting waters are stirring, and we're ready to strike on VSiN's Sharp Week. Starting Selection Sunday, VSiN will be your captain for March Mania, helping you navigate the madness and land that big bet. Join us as we break down the brackets and provide expert analysis on every game, delivering insights only VSiN can offer. We've stocked the ship with our March Mania betting guide, giving you everything you need to chart a winning course through the biggest betting tournament of the year. Dive headfirst into the free VSiN March Betting Challenge. Sink or swim for a chance to win by picking team sides or totals. We're doing it all. Special coverage throughout the tournament, best bets from hosts and handicappers, and a chance for you to win big. Set sail with VSiN, the sports betting network. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe to join us for just $29.99 for full access through May 1st. And don't miss Sharp Week, where you're going to need a bigger bet. That's VSIN.com/subscribe.
Got a good thing coming, so wait and see. It's a good.
Everybody, Dave Ross here from VSiN by the Books. Join me and my guy Jensen Lewis. Going to talk all things NFL free agency, preview a jam-packed college basketball slate, and so much more. As always, going to be joined by a great guest list. That includes our managing editor, Adam Burke, our Wednesdays with Wes Reynolds and Keith Stewart, live on the grounds at the Players Championship, the fifth major. As they call it, it's VSiN by the Books, Wednesday to 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So the Big 12 tournament is underway. Again, Arizona State upset Baylor today. The game went over. The first half went over. The second half went over. Obviously, the game went over. We got an email from D. Herbert, ftm@vsin.com, on this, and I did some digging as a result, but he noticed that with this new court, and if you're unaware of this, I just tweeted it out at Mitch Moss Radio, the first time ever that technology like this will be used for a tournament on a basketball court. The Big 12 has this LED glass court that they're using, and it looks pretty sharp when you're watching it on TV, but as you can tell, it changes like colors and the lighting, and so it's glass, obviously. And so D. Herbert said, hey, you might want to take a peek at betting some of these unders in the Big 12 because the women's games were so low scoring. And so when he sent that in, I went and looked up the very top, like the top 7 teams in the Big 12 women's tournament, which was held last week. And now, again, this is a very small sample size. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's not, because, again, the first game today went over the total. But on the women's side, Iowa State averaged more than 82 points per game in the regular season. They played 31 games. They were bounced in one game last week in the Big 12 tournament. They scored 68, 14 below their average. Oklahoma State averaged 73. They averaged 81.5. They scored 73, 8.5 under in their one game. TCU on the season averaged almost 78 points per game. They made it to the title game, so they played 3 games. They averaged 63 per game, 14-plus points per game under. West Virginia averaged 76.3 points per game. They played in 3 games. They won the whole thing. They averaged 59 points per game, 17 points per game under. Texas Tech averaged 72. They scored 51 in their loss. 2 more teams here. Kansas averaged almost 72. They played 2 games. They averaged 52. And Baylor on the year averaged 71.4. They scored 53 in their one game. So for what it's worth, the top 7 teams, and I just stopped looking at that point, on the women's side, all averaged way below their regular season point total in a very small sample size in the conference tournament. I did play the first 2 games under today. I got beat on the first half of the first game. I played under 64.5 in Cincinnati and Utah. It's 29-20 at halftime right now, and I have the game under 138 as well. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I mean, this is trending in the right direction for game 2. Now, the thing is, the games that we have later on tonight, and this is going to be split because you get the morning game and now this afternoon game and then 2 later on tonight. BYU and K-State. BYU is horrific defensively. They are in the 10th percentile on defense in the last 5 games. K-State's 23rd. And pace, Kansas State averages about 72 possessions per game, which is in the 96th percentile. And BYU gets up and down as well. And the total's already been bet up from 166.5 to 169. And in the other game, super high total as well.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Summit League. Look how high these totals are.
Yep.
But you're playing on a neutral floor, and then every game in the Summit League went under after they were so high scoring in the regular season. But you're playing neutral site games, and everything went under, and they weren't even close.
Right. So I think if this full game here of the game that we have in action right now, Cincinnati, Utah, if the full game stays under, I would have lost a little bit of juice because I'll be 2-2 on the day. At that point, I think I'm going to wait to see how high these numbers get tonight, and then I'll probably come in and bet both the under of the first half and for the full game. I want to try it out, see if there's anything to it here.
Yeah.
And maybe not, and maybe it's just one and done for today, and that's it, and we move on. But that was a good observation from him and worth putting the time into it, I thought, and maybe making a couple of bets on it as well. The CAA title game tonight, I got beat with Hofstra I laid 3.5 in the game. Had a little bit of CLV last night. That game went to overtime. They had their chances, but they couldn't win. It was a good game. Towson was totally game, could have won it themselves. And Hofstra eventually won by 3. Over the last 4 CAA tournaments, favorites in the semifinal round and the championship round, entering this year 6-5 straight up, 1-10 ATS. Monmouth got there last night. Hofstra did not against the spread.
Monmouth's been good.
Yep.
And again, this has just been going back, this has been chaos in this league. Once you get into the conference tournament, and especially the semifinals, and the 1 and 2 seeds went out in the quarterfinals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Monmouth wins it after Hofstra's coming off the overtime game, and Monmouth had an easy time of it, their last 2 wins, and what they did against Campbell. And you mentioned how entertaining it was last night in the Horizon. A lot of people picked Detroit Mercy, and they were a sexy pick, and now they make it here. Wright State had a great second half, scored over 100 points, and now they're laying 4.5 against Mercy in this one. As I said yesterday, Lenardi has Wright State a 14 seed if they win. And then I love the angle and story with Merrimack. If they're able to do this in the Metro Atlantic, only their second year in the league and only Division I for 6 years. They never made the tournament, taking on Siena as well. And I'm with you with the move. I'm surprised by the move as well, considering the guy that's out for Siena.
Well, I would love a Merrimack win by 1, 2, or 3 points.
That seemed high, didn't it? Plus 350 or 3-1 to win the league.
I got 3-1, yeah.
They got a buy into the semifinals.
Yeah, that's it certainly did. And some of these other leagues that we're going to have going on as well. Steve Mackinnon has great numbers up, like recent years going back, historical numbers. Underdogs in the opening round of the Big 12, 10-11 straight up, 17-4 ATS. Again, we saw that today with Arizona State covering and getting the outright win. Keep this in mind when they get to the semifinals. We'll remind you later on this week. Favorites are 19-3 straight up, 16-6 ATS going back to 2013 in the Big 12. I did take St. John's plus 210. Half a unit to win it. I said this, we kind of disagreed with this. UConn has been terrible at covering numbers, like most of the conference year. And I don't think they should be odds on to win. I don't think they should be any higher than even money. And I think it would be like plus 120 would be a better number. And St. John's at plus 210. I know what happened the last time they played. That was revenge for UConn, and St. John's missed their last 24 shots, didn't score for like 17 and a half minutes, whatever it was.
That would be a great final.
It would be awesome.
Event. You know, you mentioned what happened in the NFL briefly at the top of the show. I can't believe the news with the Jets. I talked to the bartender out here who's a Jet fan. He's devastated.
About what part?
That Geno Smith is back, and they think, because you go back and look at this, they draft Geno Smith. He's a bust. Matt Sims, Fitzpatrick, Bryce Petty, Sam Darnold, bust. Simeon, Luke Falk, Zach Wilson, Mike White, Josh Johnson, Chris Strevler, Rodgers, Boyle, Taylor, Fields, Cook, back to Geno Smith. And you have the longest drought in sports with the playoff drought, where you can't.
What?
I mean, this. Now, I'm not saying there were great guys out there, but that you're running it back with Geno Smith, and after he was a bust. And again, I can tell you this: you're not selling one ticket on this move. No one can get excited.
No,
and
God,
if you
no.
just want to kick the can down the road because the draft is loaded next year. I mean, maybe it's a positive that Moore went back to Oregon because it sounded like the Jets were going to take him, and that probably wasn't going to work out. But they can't get it right in the draft. They can't find their quarterback, and there's now no hope moving forward. And you're not selling one ticket with this news today. Hey, great news! We're bringing back Geno Smith. We traded for him.
Remember the glory days?
Oh my God!
Let me sign up for season tickets. When did they take Matt Sims? He was not a high draft pick, was he?
I got him after Geno, yeah.
He started a couple games?
Him, yeah.
Wow.
That was their order, yeah.
I would say this.
I forgot about Chris Strevler, too. I think he started 1 or 2 games, a CFL kid.
I think clearly the move here for the Jets, they have 2 first-round picks sitting at number 2 and number 16. Unless they fall in love with Mendoza in the next month and they make the absolute godfather offer to the Raiders that they can't refuse, I'm not going quarterback in the first round this year. You taking Ty Simpson 16th? God bless you. That's not going to work out.
I wouldn't do that either.
I would punt on quarterback this year and then come back and be awful. And the plan is, okay, now we can attack the 2027 draft and maybe get somebody who's a better quarterback. That has to be the plan.
Yep. And we're running out of spots for Kyler Murray again, too. The other one, you made this observation yesterday. Look at what these secondary wide receivers are getting. Robinson, how about Dobbs? The Patriots gave Dobbs $80 million. You know how many 100-yard games he has in his career in the regular season?
I'll say no more than 2.
0.
Okay, yeah.
He's got 2 in his career. They both were in the playoffs.
Okay. I think he does have multiple touchdown games, though, like at least a handful of those.
He's never had 100 yards in a regular season game. The Patriots just gave him $80 million. And Robinson got $80 million from the Tennessee Titans.
I think, is this the fair question to ask? Is Romeo Dobbs even the number 1 guy? Is he a number 1 receiver on any team? I like the guy.
Yeah, I think they have enough with Hollins and Booty and.
No, I saw people say that they're not done.
Well, I would hope
they can't be done. They got to make another move.
Yes, I would hope
That's a decent start, but $80 million.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh man,
I know.
Wow, that's astonishing.
Plus, he's hurt a lot too.
That's true. Where's that big helmet?
Yeah,
which I kind of like actually. But
that's their move to get rid of Diggs and then bring him in. But I would hope they're not done. and get some other weapons for me. But the money, people rip the NBA. This guy's never had 100 yards, and he got $80 million. Follow the money brought to you by Profit X. March Madness can take you anywhere in the world. The King of March is their tournament contest. Free trips, and they're up to $10,000 and up for grabs. 10 pregame spreads or totals across the 67 tournament games. Hit your volume goal to get entered. Download Profit X now. Code VSiNMM. VSiNMM, and become the King of March. Keep winning in sets of 10 and keep earning entries at Profit X.
We'll talk to Dan Leberfeld next. Does a great job covering the NFL. Are the Jets leaning Reese or Bailey with the number 2 overall pick?
College hoops is heating up, and the best betting stretch of the year is almost here. You can get VSiN Pro through May 1st for just $29.99. You'll get daily picks from our hosts and guests, real-time betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, and matchup analysis, plus 24/7 access to shows on the VSiN Watch app. Don't miss our March Mania betting guide, key trends, bracket strategies, and best bets from VSiN's top analysts. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
the Money on VSiN.
Follow the Money is brought to you by Profit X, and right now you can win flights and hotels anywhere you want, up to $10,000 with their King of March contest. Sign up with the code VSiNMM at Profit X. Right now we go out to the Progressive guest line. Dan Leberfeld, kind enough to join us here on a Tuesday at Jets Whispers on X, Jets Confidential magazine as well. Dan, thanks for the time. The big news today from the team that you're closest to, the New York Jets, went out and traded a 6th-round pick for Geno Smith. I'm guessing the Jets Nation pretty fired up about this move, huh?
Well, obviously not. The last time I was around Geno Smith covering the Jets, he got punched in the face by a defensive lineman and broke his jaw because, and I'm not taking sides in that, but Geno supposedly didn't show up to the guy's charity football camp in Texas, and the guy punched him in the face. That's the last memory I have of Geno with the Jets. But you know what? Let's look at it this way. I'm taking a different approach on this. If you're in the NFL and you need a quality backup quarterback, if you could get a guy who has 98 starts in his career and you're paying him $1.3 million and you can give him a 6th-round pick for him, let's say Geno's the number 2, right? Would you do that? Would you give up a 6th-round pick for a quarterback with 98 starts to be your number 2 in a league where you often have to play your number 2? I know that's a different way of looking at it, but would you do that?
No, because I think the Raiders were going to cut him anyway.
Well, the Jets are spinning it that there were other teams that were interested. But the point here is that I don't think it's a great idea. Obviously, the fans are not going to be excited about it. Not that you govern by public opinion polls, but look, you know, what's interesting doing a research on this, Geno's record the last 3 years in Seattle, 9-8, 8-7, 10-7. Would the Jets sign up for any of those records as a team that's missed the playoffs 15 years in a row?
In a heartbeat,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but that ain't happening. If he's the number 2, who's the star? Do they sign another guy? Could they go Simpson in the draft? What's the thinking there?
Well, I think they're going to sign another guy because they're only paying Geno $1.3 million this year based on a renegotiated contract, with the Raiders picking up most of that ridiculous contract that they gave him a year ago. So $1.3 million, you can go out and get another quarterback. Carson Wentz has that background with Frank Reich from Indianapolis. And if you really look back at that season when Frank and Carson Wentz were together in Indianapolis, Carson Wentz wasn't bad. I think they got rid of him that year because of the COVID vaccine. And that was Jimmy Irsay was still alive, and Carson Wentz wouldn't take the vaccine. And that was a really polarizing issue back then. Carson Wentz was not terrible that year in Indianapolis, if you guys recall, for the Colts under Frank Reich. So they could go out and sign Carson Wentz for no money and let Geno and Carson Wentz, have a competition for the job and still go out and draft the Ty Simpson in this 2026 selection meeting.
Okay, so the clinging right now to the number 2 overall pick, assuming they hang on to that, right now in betting markets, Reese from Ohio State is a minus $2 favorite here, or $2 favorite, to go number 2 overall. Meanwhile, David Bailey from Texas Tech, edge rusher, awesome with the Red Raiders, he's about 2-1. Are you hearing anything there who they might be leaning towards at this moment?
Well, they signed 2 edge rushers in free agency, but neither one of them have gaudy sack totals. Joseph Asai coming over from the Bengals, and Kingsley, I don't want to butcher his last name, coming over from the Green Bay Packers. But, when you're a 6'7" sack guy and you go to a new team, no one should expect you to be more than that. So they still need a game-wrecking edge rusher. David Bailey's the more established edge rusher, put up really nice numbers for Texas Tech this past year, I believe 12.5 sacks. So I think that you could see them picking David Bailey at number 2. I'm not ruling out the other player. I just don't know if you pick an off-the-ball linebacker at number 2, what kind of edge rusher do you expect it to be when he hasn't done a lot of it?
Fair enough.
Good. Okay. So how about some moves that you liked so far in free agency? And I know you're high on what the team out here did. Your thoughts on the Raiders?
Yeah, the thing about when you look at Max Crosby, what's the old saying? We can lose with you, we can lose without you. Now, I'm not blaming Max Crosby for the Raiders' struggles, but they lost a lot of games with him. And you know what? No one will say this out by you because he's so beloved, and he's a good guy, but he turned into a little bit of a locker room lawyer. I mean, let's be honest about it. Mm-hmm. With Crosby, he pushed McDaniel. He was involved with getting Josh McDaniels out of there. He pushed for Antonio Pierce, and then Antonio Pierce was gone. And then the whole thing with the guy that Tom Brady's good friends with, Guerrero, all the stories about him not being happy with Guerrero. So Max can be a little bit of a drama guy, but here's the thing about that. To trade Max Crosby for 2 first-round picks, and then the Ravens don't have enough money to re-sign Linderbaum, so you turn around and sign Linderbaum to give your rookie quarterback. When I say you, I hate saying that because it sounds like you guys are Raiders fans, but I was talking more from a Raiders perspective. To go out and get Linderbaum to be the center, they're going to get Colton Miller back at left tackle, and I wouldn't be surprised at 14 if they pick the best right tackle in the draft. That's where the right tackles kind of land, like the Alabama kid, as far as right tackle. So you can have bookend tackles and Linderbaum at center for Mendoza, who's a good prospect but not the most mobile guy. And then they go out and get two really good linebackers in Quay Walker and the Kobe Dean. They get an edge rusher who's not as good as Crosby, obviously, but he's pretty good in Kwity Paye. Yeah. They signed an underrated receiver in Jalen Naylor, who did really good work for Minnesota. And to get a 6th-round pick for Geno when you were going to cut him anyway, I kind of like what the Raiders are doing in free agency.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much everybody in the know, so to speak, if you watch ESPN NFL Network, they're, connecting the dots basically and saying that they would bet on Kyler Murray going to Minnesota as his next stop. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's, some of the leaks out of Florham Park, or the Jets are, that the Vikings were interested in Geno, and that's why the Jets had to give up the 6th-round pick for Geno Smith to make sure they got him in the building, which sounds weird to make sure you got him in the building, considering his career's been so up and down. But, Kyler Murray, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand when people act like he's the best guy available in free agency. Sometimes you wonder if some of these people watch these quarterbacks play when they talk about Kyler Murray being in demand. We're talking about a 5'10" quarterback who, if you trap him in the pocket, he can't see the field. And that happened in so many games. But, maybe KOC, Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, who's a really good play caller, figures he can come up with a good package for Kyler Murray. But you know what? I always say this on Sirius XM. There's not a Tom Brady tree out there where you could pluck a Tom Brady off a tree to play quarterback for you. So when the Jets go out and get Geno Smith, you look at the landscape like, who else are they going to get at this point? Mm-hmm. Maybe Kirk Cousins. What's going on with Kirk Cousins is the question.
Yeah, right. Well, how about his old team? What'd you think of Tua going to Atlanta? Because you had a good retweet about why did Miami and Arizona extend those guys and give them so much money when they hadn't proven anything?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I didn't even like the Jordan Love extension. Going back to Green Bay, I didn't like the Trevor Lawrence extension. Who's to say, a new thing in the media will say, the player's eligible for an extension after the 3rd year? Who says? Why not wait till after the 4th and 5th year? You have those quarterbacks locked up for 4 years, first-round quarterbacks, and then the 5th-year option. What's the rush to sign these guys? And you heard the rumors out of Minnesota that they wanted to put that provision in his contract with Kyler Murray. If he studied more, he would get more money. Why would you want a quarterback like that? So I like Tua to Atlanta. It's going to shock you guys. I'll tell you why. Tua in a dome 9 times during the season for Atlanta. The 8 or 9 home games, depending on which year you're in with the 17-game schedule, and then at New Orleans. Tua in a dome without wind or snow or rain, I kind of like him.
Okay.
In those conditions. I don't like him in Buffalo playing a road game. But if you have 8 or 9 or 10 games in a dome, Tua, to me, could be okay in a dome with no weather.
Great stuff, Dan. Follow him on X at Jets Whispers. Thank you for the time. We appreciate that.
Anytime, guys.
Appreciate you.
Dan Leberfeld here on the Progressive Guest Line.
Yeah, he's been terrible in cold weather. That's an interesting angle on Tua. Follow the money brought to you by ProfitX. Win 10 pregame spreads or totals across the 67 tournament games. Hit your volume goal and you enter to win a free trip of your choice. Download ProfitX, create your account, use code VSiNMM, win 10, hit the volume, earn your shot. Only on ProfitX, code VSiNMM. Create your account and download it now. Good luck.
Win, lose next. 8 more teams have double revenge tonight in college basketball. We'll tell you if it's been profitable so far in conference tournaments, and you will not believe what the Clippers accomplished. Paulie with the details coming up next here on VSiN.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Prop Points takes you to the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports with hosts Jeff Erickson and Nick Whalen of RotoWire.
He's the one that's the trendiest. He's the one that's going the earliest of the three, and in some leagues I've seen him go as early as the second round.
The one thing that stood out to me here is, value-wise, I would take a look at Dorian Finney-Smith over 2.5 boards.
They'll help you find the connection between the two and give you expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN. Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays. Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Great game last night in the association and a huge win for the Thunder with the Spurs right behind them and winners of 15 of 16. Denver took money. Murray played. How about that?
Did not see that one coming, and he was good, by the way.
Because I was watching the game when he got hurt, and Shaq said that's a 3-week injury. How bad he rolled his ankle, but he didn't even miss any time. 7.5 down to 3, and the over 231 up to 238. SGA was great in a high-scoring game. Horrible loss for the Warriors. Jazz plus 260 on the money line. Several guys were out. Sat guys, flew, everything, and they still win the game. That's a bad performance by Golden State. I don't care who they didn't have, who you're trotting out there if you're the Warriors.
There is a potential tanking money line parlay tonight in the NBA, but you have to trust the Warriors over the Bulls to do so, in my opinion.
Right.
And I don't know if I can do that or not.
Yeah, that's fair.
By the way, Aaron Gordon was fantastic last night. And the MVP is... Now, no more talk of the MVP in the NBA?
Come on.
Oh,
you think it's over?
Well, books moved him to minus 1,000 or higher.
I didn't get that.
Well, with that performance in the game winner, that's going to be fresh in voters' minds. He had 80% of first place votes in the straw poll, which is a big deal.
Yeah, but the way this guy's playing, they've won 15 of 16. You see this gauntlet they're going through?
No,
what if they catch him?
No opinion. I'm just based on numbers.
I know.
You know,
a lot of people said that. I don't agree with the move. I think there's too much basketball left. Detroit Mercy plus 180, Santa Clara plus 180, and Pitt just beat Stanford plus 180. Here's what Mitch mentioned. The Clippers were 6-21. They also started 2-12. With the win last night, they're at 500. That is hard to do. Hell of an accomplishment.
It's only happened, I think, once or a couple of times ever before.
I'm surprised it has happened.
The Spoelstra team did it.
Oh, did they?
Remember when they finished 41-41?
Ah, good call, yes.
And they were on fire to finish the season?
I mean, this team was a joke to start. 2-12, the headaches, the Kawhi Leonard investigation. He was great again last night, and I'm telling you, that's moved up to $1.30 now. That's a good bet to make the playoffs.
Within 3 minutes last night, 2 different people reached out. One said, what do we think of the Clippers to win the West? Other person said, are we sure they can't win the division? They're back by, I think, 7.5 games? We have not even 20 games left?
No, not enough time.
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
And the West... boy.
Because you're going to play OKC or San Antonio.
I can't get there.
Oh, they were up 25 on the Spurs. I mean,
there is one book that has like 250 to 1 on them to win the West.
Okay. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. This is excellent. Look at this French bulldog joining the peekaboo, catching some rays in the sun. He's pinned against the mirror, the window.
And the drapes?
Behind the drapes and enjoying the sun and pressing ham. He's pressing face right in. Oh, take it all in, right? Oh, this is comfortable. I've never seen this maneuver before from a dog.
Is there a chance that he's sleeping?
I don't think he's taking a nap. I think he's just enjoying the sun.
Okay, all right.
That would really be a tough set of circumstances here. How you could fall asleep doing that. That's incredible. I retweeted this as well. The bulldog with the massager on his butt. Coming up there, that feels good. Oh, yeah, that's the spot. He's not going to move. He's set. Good job by the human hooking him up, and that's it. I got my entertainment and excitement for the next couple hours.
A little bit more.
Good.
Yeah, right
sure,
there.
Sure. One bad beat, Towns and Hofstra under, goes over because of overtime, and then the kiss. The banked in 3 to win it. Founded in 2011, Sharp Plays just completed another great run in a winning 2025 campaign. 15 straight years of winning, all documented, records and logs posted publicly. SharpPlays.com for full performance auditing. Separates the Sharp Plays from most of the betting industry. When they move, books take notice. The advanced AI tools and plays have been excellent. The Robinhood plays donated over 30,000 to charity. Going back, respected, watched, and feared. Start winning with them. SharpPlays.com. They've been with us since day one. Jeff and the crew are excellent. SharpPlays.com.
Within a couple of moments here, the Utah-Cincinnati live total went from 125.5 to 135.5. It's now 59-47 Bearcats. I'm holding under 138 here in the game. This new LED court that they're playing on for the Big 12 tournament. We talked about this earlier this hour. All those women's games last week were super low scoring for the most part. Game 1 today did go flying over, but the second half, now it's died down a little bit. Live total is 133.5, but we just had an explosion over like the last 4 minutes of game time. And Cuse SMU tied at 16 apiece about 13 minutes ago, first half.
High scoring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Total now 160.5, SMU 4.5.
There's another team that's out if they lose. I mean, this is anybody.
Yeah, true.
This is wild. What's going on?
So
all these bubble teams are losing.
Our buddy Kevin Rogers, we brought him on last week. He's been tracking this, going all the way back, to a week ago, and he's going to keep going. And with double, it seems like we have a lot of games. Double revenge, teams that were swept in the regular season, and then they get a conference foe for the third time in tournament play. It was 3-1 ATS last night. So far, 35-27 ATS, a little bit higher than 56%. We have a game coming up at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. UMass Lowell takes on Maryland-Baltimore County. This number was 8.5 this morning. It's down to like 6 right now, and UMBC beat them by 20-plus in both games in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's a 1 seed against the 4, and they get it on their home court. They blasted them.
So why steam on UMass Lowell in that game? Another one comes up a little bit later on tonight. Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They were swept by Stephen F. Austin, and Stephen F. Austin's laying about 7.5 in the game tonight. Monmouth Hofstra in that title game.
It's 5.5 at DK.
Stephen F. Austin now?
Yeah.
Okay, some more money on the other side.
Maybe we don't get the Stephen F. Austin McNeese final. Maybe it's not going to be that easy.
I hope we get McNeese and A&M Corpus Christi.
Okay, that'd be even better.
That'd be a lot better.
All right.
Hofstra's, are you still seeing 4 right now? They were 4 this morning against Monmouth. But again, Hofstra's one of the teams that did not cover last night. Again, laying 3.5 or 4. Now they're up to 4.5 against Monmouth, but against Towson, and they won by 3 in overtime. For the record, you also have Jacksonville State tonight. Siena, they were swept by Merrimack. Santa Clara, Portland State. How about Portland State, swept by Montana, but yet full year, one of the best teams in the country covering numbers.
Yeah. They were good at home, but they had their issues away from home.
And
I don't trust them tonight.
Okay. And Eastern Idaho, also double revenge. You don't trust Portland State laying the 3?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you watch a lot of that St. Mary's game last night?
A little bit.
Man, I watched almost every single second. I never had any action on it. Santa Clara, I don't want to get... I've seen them play a couple times this year. They were absolutely fantastic in the second half.
I know you sent this in. You took a screen grab during the broadcast. It's hard to believe in a league that good that they've only had 3 bids 3 times in the history of the conference.
Yeah.
I guess it points to they can't beat Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and they dominate the league. But Gonzaga, St. Mary's, BYU, San Francisco made it 1 year. San Diego made it 1 year and won a game in the tournament.
That's right.
But this is, again, it's only happened 1 time in the last 13 years that they're going to get finally 3 teams in.
Man, the team basketball, again, St. Mary's, they're really good. But overall, the sharing, the cutting, the spacing, the passing, I was blown away by how good Santa Clara looked in the game last night. And if I'm watching, again, I don't want to overreact to one sample size, but I would put that game last night and compare it to what Auburn looked like in a game they had to have against Alabama on Saturday night when they came out completely listless, by the way, in against your biggest rival in a game that you have to have. They're still in, by the way. Lenardi has them back in the tournament.
I know.
Because of what you said earlier with all these bubble teams losing.
Yeah.
How bad is the bubble? It's worse than we think.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Terrible.
No, they absolutely looked the part. Absolutely, they have to be in with that win and the body of work and to beat that team twice.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yep, no doubt. The numbers are out for tomorrow already with what the games just went final. Iowa State's 11.5 against Arizona State. NC State is laying 7.5 against Pitt. They better win that game. That'd be a horrible loss. And we start the day with the Bonnies in LaSalle. The Bonnies are 5.5. The MAC game is up. Miami of Ohio plays at 8 a.m. Pacific Thursday. They're 7.5 to UMass. Got to take it. I got to take the points again.
I don't blame you.
Goes back to the pressure of their winning, but these are tight games and the fact that this is the Super Bowl for their opponent. And that's a lot of points on a neutral floor, and there will be no atmosphere at that game to start.
And I'll point this out quickly about that tournament because most books have moved Kent State to like minus 145 to win it. BetMGM, who did I say?
You said Kent State, Akron.
Akron. But how did I say Kent State? Akron. Hello. Most books have moved them to like minus 145. I found minus 110 today at BetMGM.
Now that is incredible. that this team is undefeated and the talk of the mid-majors, yet there's a team in their league that's ranked 30 spots ahead of them in KenPom.
Yeah.
That's what they think of Akron, who lost a close game, and that's their only loss in league. So Not to mention the close to home if that's the title game.
If we get Akron and Miami title game, what's the money line? $1.50? $1.60?
Miami might lose in the second round, though.
Okay.
Toledo could get them.
Yeah. Maryland and Oregon starting soon in the Big Ten tournament. We'll discuss that. And betting